Hello and welcome to another episode of the When Life Gives You Lemons podcast, brought to you by Dayspring Bank, where we hear stories from local entrepreneurs within the Omaha community and talk about the intersection between sport and business. I'm your host, Morgan Maly, and today joining us is our special guest, Maranda Adams, who is current co-CEO of Blair Freeman, a 100% woman-owned construction and owners representation firm. Yes. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't we just open up the floor for you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your educational background, and maybe what led you on this career path to where you are today?
Sure. So Maranda Adams, I was raised in Houston, Texas, and moved to Nebraska to go to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. Some of the best years of my life were spent there, just learning more about myself, who I am, meeting some amazing people, and getting my education. So there I majored in business and finance and was able to work in the finance industry for a long time. And while I was there working in finance, decided to do some investing in real estate. And that really just led to so many other things within real estate, construction, development. Growing up, my mom was a real estate agent and still is a real estate agent at 70 plus years old. And so she really introduced me to the world of real estate and construction and what that looks like. And so I learned very, very young about entrepreneurship, real estate, investing. And so that just stayed with me as I continue to grow in my careers and in my journey. And so it was an easy transition for me to go from where I was and then getting into ultimately owning a construction company.
That's awesome. The people around you influence you so much, right?
Oh my gosh, she did. Yeah. I always tell everybody my mom was the first entrepreneur I knew. Like she was in sales her whole life. It was whether it was furniture sales, real estate. I mean, I remember being in school and I was the candy lady or the candy girl student, whatever. But I figured out all the candies that everybody liked. And I was the person who I got permission, who was able to sell candy at school and just thinking through just that supply and demand and what people wanted and making sure I always had the best candy. And so entrepreneurship started young.
Yeah. I would say what just, besides your mom, what led you to like really finding your passion in that field and sparked the idea of Blair Freeman and what was needed in the real estate construction industry?
Yeah, so I started real estate investing, like I said, way back in early 2000. And so one of the things that I invested in was in commercial real estate. And so purchased a property here in Omaha and ran into some challenges with it and called my now business partner, Ashley, and her and I just worked through some of the challenges and some of the barriers that we were seeing on the project. And so that's what really led us to say, hey, you know, Blair Freeman, like we could do this. Let's start a construction company. And the thing that's unique about us is both of us have been on the owner's side. And so being on the owner's side and then transitioning to, you know, owning the company and doing the actual construction work, you understand things differently. And so that was one of the things that's very unique about both of us is that we understand the owner's side. We understand how important communication is. We understand how important, you know, that transparency is. And so those are things that we really feel set us apart in the industry.
Oh, that's great. Especially being a woman in that field. I feel like we naturally have just the quality of communication and being transparent and knowing what we want. And I'm sure you, your business partner, your company are an outlet and almost a safe space for people unsure of when they get into real estate.
It definitely translates well. I mean, and when we have clients who are women, you know, a lot of times, like you said, when you think of construction, you think of a male dominated industry. And so it is somewhat of a safe space for women who are wanting to have construction projects done. And so that's definitely something that we found and we appreciate that we're able to be that safe space and people can come to us and feel just that connection when it comes to their projects.
For sure.
Yeah.
What would you say drew you and your business partner to starting it in Omaha? What was it about Omaha that made it the right place for both of you to be?
Omaha's a great city. I mean, Ashley was born and raised here in Omaha. So she's been here. She's watched the development. She's been to school. She went to school here. She went to UNL. So she has deep roots in Omaha. And then for me, like I said, I'm originally from Houston, but my husband was born and raised here. So we are here raising our family. And so his family has deep roots in the community and in Omaha. So for us, this is home, right? So this just felt like this is where we needed to be. This is where we needed to be with our business.
Yeah. I live close to Creighton's campus, and I see the development even in my 5 years that I've been in school.
Oh, yeah.
Just right across the street in North Omaha. And I looked at your website or just what you like to do a little bit before this. What is it like to kind of transform areas with deep history and maybe that have been like neglected in the past?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we are really, really, really excited about. I mean, every day we get to come to work, we get to work on something cool. And so one of the projects that we're working on now is the Omaha Star, which they're going through a complete renovation and addition. And the Omaha Star is the only it was the only first Black newspaper in the state of Nebraska and still is. And so to be able to work on a project that has that kind of history, that building, that's really, really special. And it's on 24th Street, which is one of the main arteries to North Omaha. And so we've had the opportunity to work on a lot of historic projects, from Omaha Star to several other ones in that area. And so it's really been so cool to see all the transformation and just be a part of it.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge starting Blair Freeman, and where has that allowed you and your company to grow?
Our team is rock stars and we have so many expertise. And so just people understanding what we do and how we do it. And I think that people have a pretty good idea, but just knowing that there's those two divisions has been one of the challenges. But I think that now people are starting to understand, okay, Blair Freeman's a one-stop shop. We can do it all. So that's been a challenge, but it's also been something that we've been navigating and strategically letting people know what we do.
Does that feel like having both divisions, does that feel like it makes the process easier, having all of it be within one house? Does that make sense?
Typically, we don't do owner's representation for projects that we do construction on. So It's totally separate inside of our company. And we do that for good reason, just to make sure that that's that separation. But it's just nice that people know that, hey, if whatever I need, I can call Blair Freeman and I'm going to get directed or get pointed in the right direction within the team, no matter what I need.
For sure. When you're talking about your team, like what do you look for when you hire people? Like, I'm sure everyone that comes to you is qualified enough, but like what's that spark of people trying to get a job? And for you guys, what does that look like?
For us, it's really a culture fit. Our team is absolutely amazing. And so our biggest thing is just effort and attitude, somebody who really wants to get in there and get it done, somebody who's solution driven, somebody who understands the importance of communication. Because that's the biggest part of our job construction is construction. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have great things going on, but the communication piece is the biggest one. So somebody that just wants to get in there and do the work and learn and is excited about learning new things and wants to continue to always learn, a forever learner. For sure. Yeah. Because it's always something. I learn something new every day, all the time.
Yeah. I feel the same way with just like who you surround yourself in your life, and especially like my basketball team.
Yeah.
Like I don't have control over who's on the team, but finding people that support and add to your cultures is everything. And how you're able to be successful in the world and in what you do.
Well, you probably see it all the time in basketball, right? Like you said, you can't control who's on the team. You never know who's coming in, who's transferring in, but somebody who comes in and they fit with the culture, I'm sure is going to be somebody who's a hard worker, somebody who wants to make sure that they're contributing. So
for sure.
All of those things, it's definitely similarity.
Transferable everywhere in life.
Yes,
sports.
For sure.
What does a typical day in the life look like for you?
Starting when?
out
before
of bed.
drop off or after drop
all
off?
Of it. I know you said 5 kids earlier.
5 kids.
And I know you're involved in so many other community projects.
Yeah.
And what is it? What does it take?
It takes a lot. I'm really, really blessed that I mentioned that I met my husband and my business partner when I was in college. So really, really blessed. My husband and I have been married, oh my gosh, how many years? 17 years? Is that crazy? Wow. We've been together. We've been together a long time. I just sat there and counted. I was like, wow. So we've been together for so many years, 5 kids. And so a day in the life for me is really unique. It's getting up, getting 5 kiddos together. They range in age from 4 to 14. The 4-year-old is usually the fun one in the morning. We have 2 dogs now. So 5 kids, 2 dogs, making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, getting through drop off, and then it's just straight to the office. And office, a day could look different any day. There could be a day where I'm going to job sites. There could be a day where it's office. There could be a day where I'm doing a podcast. It really just depends. And then after that, it's getting home, pick up, doing the mom life. And I tell everybody, it's just putting on different hats. And I'm truly blessed to be able to wear those different hats, from a wife to a mom to a business owner to daughter, sister, friend, all of those things. And so it's a busy day, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I have a great village who really supports everything that I do. And my husband is the tip top of that village. So it all works. It's a well-oiled machine.
Well, that's great. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
You know, the support around someone is so important.
Well, and that's the only reason I'm able to do what I do, is because I do have that support system. So it works. It works. It really, really works.
When you, even previously in your career, was there a point where your typical day in the life was kind of like stagnant or the same every day, or have you always been an entrepreneur where it's always evolving,
always something,
always changing?
Yeah, I feel like I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and so I'm always on the go. I can't sleep in. Even on the weekend, I'm still getting up. Like, my body is just like, get up. You have something to do. And so no, it never has, but it's definitely a lot busier now. Just a little bit. I was looking at the schedule for this weekend, and our kids play sports. Our kids play basketball and football. And so this weekend, I'm just like, okay, we have
the sun's
8
starting
games.
to come out. And I got
travel, all the fun stuff.
Sure.
So,
as a college athlete in the new age with NIL,
the good stuff.
I know you have kids that play sports, and maybe they'll be in my position one day. But I'm kind of interested in learning about real estate investment opportunities. What do you have to say about that, and what makes it interesting?
Real estate is always, I'm always going to tell anybody, real estate is a great investment, no matter what. NIL deals are amazing for student athletes now. It gives people the opportunity to have, generate some good income at an early age. The first thing I would tell anybody, we tell our kids now, we do this thing at home where we're like, okay, you're going to get $50,000. What are you going to do with it? Like, we give them these scenarios because it's important to think about. And one of the things we always tell them is you have to support yourself or surround yourself, with people that you trust, because you're coming into this money. You want to make sure that you have people around you that you can trust, whether it's, a parent, whether it's somebody that you have in your network, an attorney, an accountant, all of those things. Make sure it's somebody that you trust, but also verify. But when it comes to real estate, I would say one of the best strategies that I think, and I didn't do, but I wish I would have done, was purchased a home near the campus in Lincoln, lived in it, and then rent it out.
Yeah.
And so, because it's so close, and that there's constantly going to be you've seen it in the last 5 years you've been at Creighton, how much development has gone on since you've been here. So imagine if you would have purchased a home or property your sophomore year, and what kind of return on your investment you would have seen. in that time. So I mean, and I'm going to encourage, I know people that have purchased like condos near their school, or just like a small house or something that they lived in and then they rent out, or they rent to their roommate and things like that. So it's a great investment, and then you keep it, you know that it's always going to generate revenue for you.
Yeah.
And generate income. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the real estate business has been like booming, crazy.
Yeah.
So much development. We talked about my hometown, Crete.
Yes.
She
I just sold a house in Crete.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small town.
Yeah, but thank you for that. That's good information to know moving forward in my life.
Yeah. Real estate is always, anytime you can get the opportunity to invest in some real estate, I would say, you know, once you do your due diligence, you make sure that it's the right deal for you. I would go for it. Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
I mean, it was like in elementary school, and I'm sure everybody has heard it. So I don't have anything profound to say, but it's just treat other people the way you want to be treated. And I feel like that translates in so many different areas. I mean, it's obviously, like I said, you learn it in elementary school, right? It's something that I tell my kids current day. It's something that we tell our staff. It's just like when it comes to a client, you should communicate and treat the client exactly how you would want to be treated if it was your project. You know, and when you're with my kids, you treat your brother and sister the way you want them to treat you. And I feel that way about everything. So for me, the best piece of advice is treat people that you want the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so simple, but
it's so simple. That's what I was like. I don't have anything profound that I'm going to reference anybody with, or any. I'm sure there's other stuff, but that's just been the number one thing. Mm-hmm. So when I walk into a space, I'm going to treat, you know, the CEO the same as I treat the janitor. I'm going to treat everybody the same and treat them the way that I want to be treated.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially if someone's coming to you asking for help, it's like you're on the end of every spectrum so many times in your life where you're asking for advice, and then when you're giving that advice and just having the same approach to it, it's like, it's what makes the transaction good. And
it does. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten? I'm always curious. I put you on the spot.
I would just say probably just like the importance of the people that you surround yourself with, and how that impacts you in more ways that you probably don't even know, and like your subconscious.
Yep.
You know,
all the stuff. It is. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Especially, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it a lot as an athlete and everything. Your coaches and probably everybody tells you that, like, who you surround yourself with
matters.
It matters.
Yeah. That was my mom preaching to me that all throughout high school too.
And that's a good one. And it translates to business also. Because I tell everybody your most valuable asset is your network, and who you surround yourself with. You know, those are people that are going to support you. Those are people that are going to be a resource for you. Those are people that you can call on, that you can depend on, that you can bounce ideas off of. And so your network is one of the most valuable things. And so to your point, who you surround yourself with and who you make that village or that network is so important in anything that you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Miranda, thank you so much for coming on the show, giving your insight into entrepreneurship and also the intersection between sport and business.
Thanks so much for having me. I couldn't miss it. Obviously, when y'all invited me to be on, I was super excited. And then I was even more excited because I saw that it was hosted by Dayspring Bank, who has been, my husband and I, they've really been instrumental in some of our personal investments. So they've been our bank since we started. So I was really excited to see that they were sponsoring, and I got to be on here on a Dayspring Bank podcast. So shout out to Dayspring.
Yep, shout out. Thank you so much. That concludes another episode of the When Life Gives You Lemons podcast, sponsored by Dayspring Bank. I'm your host, Morgan Maly.